that the government and the authorities are acting with impunity at this point in time. For people like yourselves, human rights defenders, where does it leave people like yourselves? How easy or how difficult a task is it for people like yourselves, Douglas?
Yeah, no, it is very difficult on a number of fronts. I mean, one, just seeing, as you say, the impunity does is frustrating as a lawyer representing my clients. You know, struggling to see justice done for clients is extremely frustrating. But it also puts us as human rights defenders, as lawyers, directly in the firing line. I myself have been prosecuted twice over the course of the last 2 years, simply for doing my job. I've been assaulted by the police twice as well. And I'm by no means the only lawyer who has faced that kind of persecution. There's a whole string of other lawyers who have faced those same kinds of abuses. As we've been talking about, people like journalists also just simply trying to do their jobs have been abused in the process. So it certainly comes with its challenges. It's a hard hat area, as they say, but we have to press on because Zimbabwe is our home, and unless ordinary citizens stand up and each one of us try to play our role, then things will never get better. So we have to keep pressing.
Douglas, one would have hoped after the Mugabe era that the situation would have improved in Zimbabwe. But from what you have just described, it doesn't appear to be the case. And even when we talk about basic human rights, we're talking about rights to health, to food, to housing. Now, these, apart from just the issues surrounding the authorities acting with impunity, the expression, freedom of expression, and the like, it does appear as if even basic human rights are a major problem, even after Robert Mugabe has gone.
Yeah, I mean, there was certainly a lot of hope at the end of the Mugabe era that things would be done differently. But I think what we've seen is really that it's been a continuation of the same. And astute analysts really called that out from the get-go to say these people who are removing Mugabe and claiming to be liberators have been there with Mugabe all along. And really have been the enforcers of both Mugabe's brutality and his corruption. And so we have seen really a continuation of the same, both in terms of political repression and as you say, with the complete breakdown of any social services or respect for socioeconomic rights, education, housing, water, all of these things have actually declined in recent years in terms of respect for those rights. We've seen, the demolition of people's homes. Of course, there's a tussle going on around that issue as to who's really responsible, whether it's the local councils or the national government. But generally, we have seen this decline in human rights sort of continuously, really, for the last several decades, which is very concerning.
Yes, and obviously this has been compounded by the problems with regard to or associated with COVID-19. And what we find is, we come into contact with a lot of people from Zimbabwe because we know there are thousands and thousands of Zimbabweans who now reside in South Africa. And in our interaction, you find that Zimbabweans generally cultured people, highly educated. They've had a good standard of education over the years in Zimbabwe. And it's actually quite sad to see the country going this way. And also the question of nationality, because we know many Zimbabweans have left Zimbabwe, are residing in many other countries. And that also seems to be problematic at this point in time.
Yeah, it really is it's a real tragedy. And I always say that Zimbabwe's greatest strength is its people. And as you say, the Zimbabweans are there are some amazing people among our nation. and and a lot of our best and brightest have gone abroad, gone to South Africa, to the UK, and elsewhere, and that also has its challenges for us, those of us who have remained back home, not having had that brain drain, those skill sets that have left. I think a lot of those people are benefiting the countries that they have gone to, rather than benefiting Zimbabwe. Of course, they do still make a contribution to Zimbabwe. One of the things that keeps the country going are the remittances that come in. But yeah, for Zimbabwe to really rebuild and turn around, it's going to require a lot of those people who have gone outside to come back and plug in and to start with, fight for a better Zimbabwe, fight for a real democracy to be established, and then ultimately to start rebuilding those institutions which have been so decimated, both by the Mugabe era as well as this current Mnangagwa era, which is really a kind of a military-controlled regime now.
Douglas, where does this leave people like you going forward? And just as a final parting shot, your struggles, your battles towards achieving these human rights in the country.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think we have to dig in, we have to press in, because this is our home, and as we draw inspiration from the anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa, which took many decades, and at many times it seemed like it was an uphill battle, and yet apartheid was ultimately defeated. Of course, that doesn't mean that everything's fine and dandy, but there are now the institutions in South Africa and the systems for bringing about positive change. We don't have those institutions or processes in Zimbabwe, but we have to keep fighting until we achieve that, so that we can use democratic processes in order to bring about development for our people.
Well, Douglas, thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. We wish you all the best, and please take care.
Thanks very much for having me on the show.
Douglas Coltart joining us out of Zimbabwe this morning. The dire situation in Zimbabwe. We're going for a break. We come back. We're looking at Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Could Qatar be the new U.S. ally in the Middle East region? And we'll be joined by Ibrahim Tembisa Fakudi this morning.